all right. He's full of gifts. Next up, if you're ready, we have Joe Alagna, my esteemed colleague from IT.com.
That's me.
Thank you, sir. How to get your own domain.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming, and I also want to make sure to thank Helmets for putting on this event. Helmets is a real friend of our company, IT.com Domains. And when I found out about IT.com Domains, by the way, I felt like I was going back in time because I began in the industry as part of CentralNic, selling US.com domains back in the early 2000s. In fact, I see Radine here. She was my colleague. And we had a lot of fun building that company. In those days, that company was probably, if we registered 5 or 10 domains a day, we were excited. And then, of course, today it's grown into a conglomerate. So always excited to be part of this industry. And this, I want to say a couple of things to you, by the way. First, on my thank yous, there's something that's important to me. I want to thank some of our early customers. Back in 2012, when I was still part of the CentralNic company, there were guys like Ray King and Jay Westerdahl, Dan Nagari, Evett Merchant, Aaron Grego, and his cousin who trusted us to help them to acquire their own new top-level domain name. And I always struggle with talking to people in a room like this, because in a room like this, I don't know if this is going to work, I like to think about who I'm talking to. And usually, especially in this conference, we're talking to domainers, people who, like Larry, invest in domain names or we're talking to brokers who buy and sell domain names. I see we have some people in the trademark industry that help corporates. We also have registries, we have registrars, we have web builders, we have advertising companies, and then we have more domainers and more domainers and more domainers. And what I've found, because I am a domainer myself, that was what got me interested in the domain name industry back in early, about 2000. I had heard that people were buying and selling them and making money, and I thought, this sounds like a lot of fun. I was excited about the internet, and I wanted to be able to buy and sell domain names. And so I got involved in the community. I met a lot of amazing people. Some of you are still here today. And I had some successes. I bought and sold domain names myself. In the early days, I had prescriptionmeds.com, which I sold for pretty good money. The story of duckeggs.com will surprise you, but I sold duckeggs.com for $60,000 back in 2007 or 2008. It's a whole story, which I'll spare you today, but crazy things, how would that happen? So fun things happen in the domain name industry. But the problem is that when I talk to domainers about new top-level domains, it's hard. You guys already know this stuff. The book that I wrote, I think a lot of you were here when we did this in 2012. So I feel like, okay, these people know this. And in a room full of many domainers, they don't always really feel excited about new top-level domains. Many of us are invested in .com domains, and we feel that, like Larry, that's where it's at. And now, of course, we have AI and we have others. But most of us are kind of invested in the traditional names. And a lot of you think, oh, that's not something for me because I don't have a play. I don't have $227,000, or probably you should think in terms of higher than that, but a lot of you don't think it's for you. And I want you to think back for a little bit. If you are thinking that as I speak to you, think back to when you started in the domain name industry. What was it like when you registered your first domain name? Okay? What did you feel like when you tried to explain what is a domain name to your family, your friends, your mother, your brother, your sister? What did it feel like to have your first 100 domain names if you're a domain investor? Okay? And how did people react when you told them what you were doing, if they did understand it? They probably thought you were a little crazy, didn't they? So what I want to do And a lot of us have, the best of us have a nice portfolio of .com domains. So I want you to do, what I want to do today is I want to kind of challenge you, and I want you to think about new top-level domains a little differently. By the way, I wrote this book. This book, I registered How to Get Your Own Top-Level Domain Name .com back in 2012. I had the idea, I want to write this book. We had just helped about 60 people get their own top-level domain. All of them did well, by the way. I mean, you can talk to 100 people about new top-level domains, and some will tell you, oh, they're a failure, this and that. But what criteria are they using for that? My criteria is, how did the people that we helped to apply, how did they do? Did they make money? Did they lose money? And I can honestly say none of them lost money. All of them did well. And even though in this new round that's happening next year, just 6 or 8 months from now, there are more risks. ICANN is not making this easy for people, okay? It's not like, I know, well, it's the truth, Martin. They're not making it easy because I don't think ICANN really is, they want to be careful, okay? There's good reasons for it, but it's not easy. But the truth is it wasn't easy last time. We had no real idea of what would happen if we introduced 1,000 or 200, or 2,000 new top-level domains into the root. It was risky. I was afraid to, quote, unquote, sell new top-level domains. And today, even though I wrote that book, I don't sell new top-level domains. In fact, if somebody reads this all the way through, they probably might be discouraged from applying, okay? I'm not selling new top-level domains. There is risk. But if I go back to 2012, none of the people that applied, that I worked with at least, regretted it. All of them did well. And I just, like to point that out to people. So anyway, let's think about, is it possible that new top-level domains are the next digital category, actually as an investment? Where would, to me, they're like the same as domain names were 20 or 25 years ago. Everybody thought you were a little crazy for being involved in it. But where are the opportunities? What might be in this for you? Okay? So let's talk about this. Now this is a chart that I put in my book, and the idea is the concept of rarity. All right? Now we know that in the, let's just say the second level space of domain names, there's somewhere around 386 million domains. Give or take, depending who you ask and when you ask it. It's somewhere in that range. These are the common second-level domains that are sold around the world that people own, operate, buy, sell, so forth, and so on. There's a lot of them. There's massive quantity. I like to refer to them as like the pennies or the copper of the digital namespace and the investment space within there. Now, in that 386 million domain names, there's probably somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 that are actually valuable for the reasons that Larry talked about in his earlier presentation. They're short, they're 2 letters, they're 3 letters, they're, or 3 characters, I should say. Maybe they are generic and they have meaning. The insurance.com domain, the cars.com domain, all of these very generic domains. But there's, several tens of thousands of these types of domain names, mostly in the .com zone, but now it's the same in AI and others. But these domain names are not very common. And if you really come right down to it, a very small portion of domain names sell in the millions. I mean, it's minute. It's not a lot of domain names that sell for millions of dollars, whatever the extension, okay? So, but they are gold, they are valuable. We like to buy and sell them, we like to broker them. There's money to be made. There's an opportunity in those very good or great domain names. And a lot of us, that's what we do for a living. But then think about the new top-level domain space. So right now, there are the last count I had, there were 1,591 top-level domains in the world. These include the traditional domains, the very, original ones, .com, net, org, biz, info, and so forth. They also include some that were added since, like .name, .tel, and so forth. And then they include the country codes, and they also include now the new top-level domains. There's 1,591 of them. That's all in the entire world. Think about that for a moment. Top-level domain names are super rare. And a lot of us have no qualm about spending well, people buy domain names that are very valuable for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and yet there's hundreds of thousands of those, and there's only less than 1,600 in the entire world. And this is only the second time in the history of the internet that new top-level domains will be available for anybody to obtain, okay? I mean, it's open to the world. Yeah, you got to qualify. You'll need to talk to somebody that's done it, or maybe read this book. You're going to have to get that guidebook, and you know, you guys all know what that looks like. But that guidebook takes into account every possible scenario. I just don't imagine that you're going to have to go through everything in that guidebook to be able to qualify to get your own top-level domain. So it's possible to do. And here's the other thing. I like to think about, you know, how many of you have ever gone to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas? Some of you? Anybody? Okay, I've been there a couple of times. The average number of attendees at that consumer or CES event is about 170,000 attendees over a one-week period for a single show. If you go to an ICANN meeting, it's a pretty big meeting if you get 2,500 people. And guess who those people are? Many of you are sitting right in this room. Not only are new top-level domains a rare opportunity that doesn't come along very often and may or may not ever happen again, we really don't know. I mean, I think ICANN's intention is to make this an ongoing thing, but we really don't know if that's going to happen. This may be the last opportunity that somebody gets to have their own top-level domain. The people that are sitting right here in this room and the people that are milling about in the audience here, you are the people that understand what's happening. You know, I love ICANN, honestly. I'm actually a fan of ICANN. I know some of you have mixed feelings about that. I think they do a good job for what they have to do. Manage top-level domains across 250 sovereign countries and nations and cultures and people and so forth. That's not easy for anybody to do. ICANN does, in my opinion, a pretty good job. But the truth is, in my view, and the reason I wrote my book, is I feel like ICANN preaches to the choir. They mill about in the same circles that we are. And there's a lot of people outside of the ICANN world, the Domain Summit world, the Domain Days world, all of these little trade shows that we do, that have no idea that this opportunity exists. And that's an opportunity for you, because if you understand this, why wouldn't you want to maybe work with a registry, a registrar, somebody, or a consultant? There's consultants right in this room. Besides myself, there's several of them that could help you or could help one of your clients to be able to acquire their own top-level domain. So it's something you can do, by the way. This is an opportunity. It's not like there's a lot of people that know how to do this stuff. So why should you help somebody, or why does anybody, that's the other question. I sort of went around with, instead of calling this how to get your top-level domain, I played with calling it why do you want to get your top-level domain. And if you really boil it down, I think there's only a couple of reasons. The first reason is obviously, it's an exciting business. Now, I've been part of registries, I've been part of registrars, and I've also been an individual domain name investor. I've kind of played roles in all of these. I've even brokered a domain name, by the way, which I don't do as a living, but I have done it for the same reason that I just mentioned. I know a little bit about it. I know the people in it. You know, there's a lot of opportunities in brokerages. And again, someone who wants to have an exciting business, domain names are it. There's not a lot of businesses where your inventory is in such control as it is in the domain name business. You know, a lot of businesses, physical products, it's digital, there's no inventory, there's no shipping. Imagine all the headaches that people have in the retail industry or selling products online. We don't have that. If somebody doesn't pay us, we can take that domain name back from them, and it doesn't cost us anything to do it. There's so many valuable things. It's transactional. You can make money while you're sleeping in the domain name business because so many people are buying them all around the world. It's global. I mean, it's a fantastic business. I'm just telling you that there's an opportunity in it. And then, of course, there's the brands. And a lot of you here work with brands. And I'm pretty good friends with Nisha, who runs .sky. I've talked to many different brands, and people in this room have done so as well. And brands like control. And a new top-level domain is the ultimate control for their brand. I've actually, about back in the earlier round in 2012, I wrote a paper that talked about how to reduce or stop cyber squatting by running your own TLD. And in my opinion, the .com brand, which it is a brand, and it's a valuable brand, and it's an important brand, but it was made famous because companies all around the world, the aggregate ad dollars of every large corporation, they advertised it and they made it famous. That's why it's so ubiquitous. People love .com because they know it. It's part of our consciousness. And that happened because of the trillions of dollars that were spent advertising a company, and then always on the back end, the biggest companies anyway, .com. Okay? So by getting your own top-level domain, all of the focus of your advertising dollars now goes to your brand and your brand alone. So there's value in that. There's a case for it. And time will tell whether that's truly the best angle or the best way for a company to move forward, but there is value in focusing on your brand, never spending money advertising something that is not part of your brand, okay? So those are some of the things, and anyway, we stand ready to help. We want to work with people. We want to help other people to benefit by this, and there's others in this room that can do the same thing. And I just challenge you to consider the possibility that a new top-level domain is an opportunity, maybe as an investment or maybe as a business for you to help other people because you know what's going on in the industry. And so really that's the main points that I wanted to make. And I want you to know if you ever are interested in talking more about this, that I would be very pleased to help you and to help you understand it and help you to do something in that realm. All right, any questions? Does anybody have any questions? I don't know if I've gone over my time or not, or who's next. Okay, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joe. You have such a heart of hospitality, inviting everyone to work with you. And I can speak for myself and say what a pleasure it is. So,
Same here, Tess.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Next